How are we doing, guys? And welcome back to All These TV. It's a very happy All These TV cast ahead of Liverpool versus Leeds as we go to Anfield, having lost the game last season 6-0. And the way CK and Phil have been talking off there, you'd think the same thing's going to happen again. But it's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen again. Is it, CK?
7.
Okay. Technically, that isn't a repeat of 6-0. Technically, we're okay. Phil, what are you thinking ahead of this, mate?
Beyond giving a shit, to be honest, mate. It's not even about the scoreline anymore, is it? I mean, depends which way you fall. If you want it to be that bad that they actually have to sack Marsh, or if you just don't care. Who cares?
Okay. A really positive chat this evening. But guys, in the comments, please smash that like button if you haven't done already, and hit the subscribe button as well. It massively helps us. We will be doing plenty of content after the game as well. What about team selection then, guys? Because we've got some doubts going into this game. I think let's just run through them all. Liam Cooper's a doubt. Tyler Adams is still a doubt. Luis Sinisterra is a doubt. Paddy Bamford's a doubt. No, sorry, Rodrigo's a doubt. In fact, Paddy Bamford's one of the players who isn't a doubt, which is something else. But yeah, okay. Joe Gelhardt and
there he goes.
And Oscar's a doubt.
Jesus, honestly.
You can't get this stuff these days, can you? That's because his battery's drained from spending so fucking long on the Just Joe channel. Maybe we could just talk about Oscar instead, and that'd probably be a more positive evening.
Definitely be more upbeat, yeah. Oscar shit Wi-Fi.
I think where he was going was probably along the lines of the lineup doesn't look like it could be very good tomorrow, Chris. Are you expecting a strong first team to be fielded?
Mate, do you know what? Actually, it doesn't even matter to me who's ahead of that front four because, well, that centre-back pairing. If Llorente's in there, mate, Firpo's going to be at the side of him. Just shut shop now, give him a 3-0 win and take the lesser goal difference because them two on the left-hand side of defence, and I said it last game as well, is a nightmare waiting to happen. An absolute nightmare. Unless Pascal's back in there, but for me, Pascal's fit, he should be in at centre-back.
What, just so Llorente and Firpo aren't next to each other?
Yeah, anything. Manan and, I don't know, Stevie Wonder is better. Is a better option.
No, they won't play. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen tomorrow, but surely it'd be Pascal at either left-sided centre-back or left-back. Sure. Is Pascal a doubt as well?
Everyone else is.
Because I just came off the stream then, just in pure depression, at like going through that injury list and thinking, oh my word, this is just not great, is it? But let's be positive. Let's be positive because All These TV is back in partnership with Football Prizes, and we have got a fantastic prize on offer this week for you guys. It is happier times at Leeds United. The 1972 squad signed and framed shirt. What a piece this is. It's the 50th anniversary of that fantastic FA Cup win. I do have the pleasure of working with a lot of these legends as well. And yeah, what an offer this is. What an offer. The competition ends Tuesday, the 1st of November. $3.95 a ticket. Just under 150 tickets available. Get on it, guys. You've got a couple of days to enter. Tuesday, the 1st of November. What an opportunity this is to win. The happier times at Leeds. And hopefully one day those times will return, but it looks less and less likely in the short term anyway. But guys, check it out and check out everything else on Football Prizes. Some fantastic prizes on offer. And I will leave a link in the description down below to enter this competition. Check it out, guys.
That was one of the most sensational segues I've ever seen.
It was a sensational one. It was a sensational one, that, to be fair.
Like a Lampard facial expression change. Just there we go.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm hoping Leeds will be like, just suddenly out of nowhere, just an expression change. You know, it's and David Lofthouse. What's the point of being positive, Oscar? Oh, it's our type of humour, though. This, us three. It's just like it's. I hope it's. Leeds United. Look, it just got so bad, didn't it? The Fulham game. I mean, it was almost laughable. Some of the defending in that second half, and some of the panic in that second half in general. I mean, CK. Going forward, are you looking to change anything? if at the best case scenario the likes of Sinistera are available, would you be looking to change something anyway? For me, we could do a lot worse and give Gnonto a chance. Look, I know it's Anfield away, but let's have something different down that right-hand side. We haven't quite got anything going down that right-hand side all season. It's an opportunity because we know how big that Bournemouth game is. Let's, if things go wrong tomorrow night early, you've got a chance to look forward to that as well. Is that another way of looking at it?
Mate, for me, the man is at last chance saloon now. Do you know what I mean? The manager. So just this kid, I'm sick of repeating myself about it. This kid is picked by Roberto Mancini to represent Italy, not some outback third world international.
The current European champions, by the way.
Yeah, plumbers, joiners, IT specialists. This is Italy we're talking about, and this kid gets game time. Yet Jesse's like, nah, not going to get in the 23s, sunshine. It's ridiculous to me. Everyone screams about Joffy, and the kid's shown patches, but he's as injury prone as Patrick Bamford. He picks up injuries all the time. He's a risk again. Patrick, I mean, the name fits at the minute, doesn't it? Can't hit a barn door. Rodrigo's Rodrigo, and now injured again. So just give the kid a shot. Give Sonny Perkins a shot. I'm not actually bothered which one it is, but like Matteo Joseph and Sonny Perkins are absolutely banging goals in. I know it's a huge step up. Yes. But they must be full of confidence.
But CK, it wasn't last season for Joffy. A big step up.
No, exactly.
Pascal Struijk as well. Made that sudden step up and was fine. The path is there.
Just give them a go and see what happens. It's Liverpool. We're probably getting pumped anyway. Just get them thrown in and give them a shot.
Well, there's no pressure, is there? That's the point I was making. There's no real pressure. In a weird way, I think that might help this team a little bit. We've been better against the better teams this season where we've had a little bit less of the ball. We can press and we don't have that pressure on us like the Chelsea game, really. But Phil, my big frustration on Sunday was that we've seen Darko Ghiarbi play absolutely superbly well in the midfield double pivot, alongside, a more technical, maybe player with less legs, in terms of Mark Rocker. Was the opportunity there and not taken to play Darko Ghiarbi or even Mateusz Klich with Tyler Adams out of the team? I mean, did you understand playing Greenwood and Rocker in midfield together? Did it just feel a bit too lightweight from the off for you?
Mate, I'll be honest, I expect exactly the same thing again tomorrow. And the thing that's
really?
been so... Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing for me, and I'm not saying that's what I want. Fuck me now. But
that's exactly what you're saying.
No, it's not. The last few weeks, the problem for me has been up until the Arsenal game, we had 5 games that were just getting more and more lackluster to watch in general anyway. Arsenal was good. And then the 2 games since that have also just got further and further down that depressing scale of, I don't want to watch this. And since the Arsenal game, we built up some momentum, it seemed, with a really good performance. And then the last 2 team selections have just been so fucking bizarre to move away from something that worked and to take it back to something that just never has, with just the same old thing that we were saying last season under the previous manager, just square pegs, round holes. Sam Greenwood used to be a striker. I know maybe he was more a deeper striker than just an out-and-out number 9, but putting him in at a 6 is a bit of a change. So, yeah, I mean, we have got other players that can play there. We have got other players that can be given a chance. I mean, Mateusz Klich's done that job before. Again, I know that's not his speciality, but, Klich, every time he's come on this season, I think, especially for the first few games in particular, changed the game. But, he's been solid, he's been consistent, whereas I haven't seen a performance out of Sam Greenwood, to be honest, in the first team at all. People will say Brentford.
I think Brentford, he was superb in, to be honest. But just one big caveat on that, alongside Calvin Phillips, alongside a ball winner, where he was just able to focus on creating from deep and doing what Sam Greenwood does. I mean, it makes, to me, that midfield makes about as much sense as when we had Pablo and Samu Saiz in the team, as playing them in midfield together. It's just too lightweight from the off. It doesn't matter how good on the ball they are. Fulham had loads of chances on the counter because we lacked that physicality in midfield. We lacked the legs without Tyler Adams. Bad enough without Tyler Adams. You've got to play the closest thing you've got to Tyler Adams. So for me, it's Darko Ghiarbi or Mateusz Klich. It's not Sam Greenwood.
It won't happen. I think.
You still don't think?
No, for me, I think the same as the last two games. I will completely and utterly lose faith and lose enthusiasm for this game an hour before it even kicks off. Because as soon as I see the team, I just sort of automatically just go, oh, well, that's that in the bin then. And it's ruined the game for the last 2 weeks and the atmosphere going into the game. Thankfully, this is an away game, so it's not our fans that need to really turn up. The away fans always do, but especially that Fulham game, like I haven't felt an atmosphere like Fulham, to be honest. So flat. I mean, the Villa game last year at home was toxic, but this wasn't toxic. We just couldn't be asked to do anything. Singing was just hard. I think the second goal went in and none of us celebrated. I didn't even stand up. I just didn't even care anymore. I stayed to the end just to clap them off. I don't know why I do, but yeah, I think the whole thing just felt so flat last week.
It was, yeah. I mean, for me, on last week, I said it on the post-match reaction. We went 1-0 up. I actually thought we started the game well against Fulham. I thought first half an hour, I thought was passable. Better than where we've been last couple of weeks. As soon as it went to 1-1, the nerves kicked in. And then second half's totally unacceptable. It's 1-1 against Fulham. Even if we lose the game, as long as you've had to go, as long as it's gone full throttle at them, like we'd started the game in that second half, I can kind of accept that. But the way we lost it, we're just almost waiting for it to happen. And the way the goal went in as well, it's just, you've got Harrison Reed dancing around our box. He's a good player, but it's Harrison Reed, you know what I mean? He was taking the piss at times. And the fact they've missed chances as well for them is such a worrying one, in terms of, because Liverpool, you're looking at Roberto Firmino, Mo Salah, Darwin Núñez. That's going to be tough. That's going to be super tough to stop them.
I'm telling you now, right, if he plays Rocker and Greenwood in the centre again, and Firmino plays with Núñez and Salah either side of him, we will definitely 100% get our asses handed to us tomorrow.
We'll get bullied for me.
In that pocket, and he'll just pick Salah and Núñez out for fun. And I don't understand. Watching Sam Greenwood and Mark Rocker play together is watching like two people try and run the 100-metre sprint in flip-flops in a vat of treacle. It's just awful. Genuinely awful. I've never seen two players look less mobile, and I like Mark Rocker, but he does need that high-energy bit of a lunatic next to him to cover the grass. I wouldn't play Click there. I don't rate Click anymore. I think he's done. For me, it would be Darko Gabby if Tyler Adams is out. I think Gabby's got legs on him, likes to tackle, get him in. Something different, but it won't be. I agree with Phil. We'll see the same lineup or as near as he can do it with, regardless of, or apart from injuries. I can guarantee it. For me, it'll be Greenwood and Rocker in that central two tomorrow.
But the whole season, this is what frustrates me. The whole season, the first three games were built around the energy, the power of the midfield. Having Tyler Adams in there, that was what the great start to the season was built upon. And then as soon as Tyler Adams is missing, you can't just change your whole style because one player is missing from the team. That's a real concern, that to me, because obviously Sinisterra might be missing. All of a sudden, we might completely change our attack. It's not great, is it? And obviously, look, Phil, we're going to have to talk about the centre-back situation. If Coops is a doubt...
Bring me Llorente.
Coops is a doubt. Will it be Cock and Llorente for you, or do you think they might switch across into centre back? And I knew you'd get a reaction from Chris. I didn't do it for that reason, but do you think that might happen instead, or do you think it will be Cock and Llorente if Coops isn't available?
It really is just the lesser of which evil, really, isn't it? And as I know you're asking me about centre back, but you've got to bear in mind who's at left back as well. And if Pascal Struijk is playing at left back, then okay. But there's an argument, what's worse, Firpo or Llorente? Do you move Pascal into the middle so that he can play with Cock and you've got two centre-backs that I almost semi-trust there, but then you have Firpo next to them on the left? Or do you put Pascal at left back and leave Llorente next to Cock, which together I just don't trust either of them? Defensively, we're a shambles. I mean, for the first, 7 games this season, Rasmus was pretty dire, and I'd say for the last 3 games he's been one of our best players. And again, I don't want that to sound harsh on Rasmus Christensen. He has shown improvement, but I think it's just a really big slight on the rest of the defence.
Does he come back in for you tomorrow night?
What, Christensen?
Yeah.
If there's a way that you can find any way to not...
Well, that's why I made the point about Ayling. You know, if you play Christensen right back...
Ayling right back, Rasmus left back.
Yeah, I'd take that.
It could work.
Just not get either of them in.
Rasmus has played left back before.
And then with that CK, you put in Pascal left side of the back two, the two centre backs.
Robin Koch. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shout. Yeah. It's you know, it look, in terms of the defensive balance, it can't get any worse, can it? You know,
and again, that's never going to happen. We know for a fact we've got one left back at the club, and now we've got a new makeshift left back at the club. He isn't going to destroy Firpo's confidence anymore by making another makeshift left back. He's going to. It's either Firpo or Pascal.
No, listen, I understand in terms of Pascal. Look, he's naturally a centre back, but I would still say by a mile, I'd say he's been our best defender. And he's been playing out of position. He's the only one that's played out of position. Is that not
a great deal of competition in there, though? Is there?
I know. Obviously, you two are both, you know, wanting. You know, you're not for Jesse Marsh at this moment in time. I think it's pretty fair to say. I think you've said that in the first sort of 15 minutes or so. Fair enough. But would you not say, performance-wise, some of these players are getting away with murder at this moment in time in terms of their individual performances?
100% they're getting away with murder, mate. And don't get me wrong, I've said it, and you know I've received my hate for it on post-match. Jesse's tactically inept for me. His substitutions, like the previous manager at times, are beyond questionable. His starting lineups, the last couple, like Phil said, have been just bizarre, and I'm sure tomorrow's will be as well. And they come across like a man who's run out of ideas and is in pure panic mode for me. The last couple of lineups,
yes,
but he is not the only person to blame. The players have got absolutely no bottle. They've no spine about them. This isn't the first time I've said this about this group of players. Even Liam Cooper sort of said it in his post-match without actually saying we're a bunch of spineless muppets. He pretty much admitted it.
Yeah.
It's just poor. It's poor from top to bottom as this football club. It really is. It's badly run. It's badly managed, and it's got a bunch of players who aren't good enough, or certainly aren't, I don't know, good enough to wear the Leeds shirt for what Leeds stands for, in my old school opinion, of course.
With 10 fucking games into the season as well, by the way. This is a problem. With 10 games into the season. You know, this shouldn't be happening this early on. This really shouldn't be happening this early on. And, you know, Joe, to be fair, nails it. I was going to say he draws, it feels like it's coming out of a tombola machine, you know, in terms of who's going to play each week, in terms of what the back line's going to be, what the front four's going to be. And, you know, it does feel a bit like that in terms of we're just trying to get a balance to it. And that's never a good sign for me. You know, when you're swapping and changing, you know, 1 week you're going with Brendan Aronson right wing, then he's moving back to the 10 role. Then it's Junior Firpo in for a game at left back. You know, it is, you know, at the start of the season, it was a constant 11. We stuck with that starting 11 and it got us some results early doors. But yeah, it's not great, is it? I'm sure we'll get another surprise tomorrow as well in terms of, you know, just trying something different. But it's got to be trying the right things for me. You know, if you can see, you know, Christensen at left back. I saw a comment that just then when I flashed up. He's played some games at left back. Let's test that out. Let's see what he can do in that position. If you can do a job there, Pascal can go to centre back. You know, and then all of a sudden you've got a little bit more stability. You know, within the back four. But I think it's a problem as well that our two most consistent defenders are both left-footed. You know, if you want your ideal centre-back pairing, you know, in terms of Koch and Llorente have not had a good start to the season at all for me. Some people have been a bit more kinder to Robin Koch, but I think Robin Koch's making too many mistakes. I think simply making too many mistakes. The third goal, I don't even know what to say about the third goal we let in terms of from Robin Koch's point of view. It's just not good enough. And, you know, I think I do like a lot of the players in this team, but you've got to look at them. They've got to look at themselves at this point now. You know, last season, Rafinha, Calvin when he played, you know, Coops had a couple of games that dragged us through individual performances. You can't keep relying on that. Eventually, you need a team performance, and we've not seen anything like that since Chelsea. And you know, I can't believe that we've gone from third after 3 games to 18th in the space of 7 games. I've never quite seen a collapse like this so early in the season. And the fact we've not played like a City, Tottenham, Arsenal in that, well, we've played Arsenal in that spell. We've not played that many top teams. And I mean, Phil, where is the next point coming from for you, mate?
Well, there's only one.
Team one championship.
Yeah, I was going to say there's only one realistic one at the moment, and that's surely got to be Bournemouth. But even then, I'm not sure.
Just to be positive, though, we only need one win to make sure we don't break Derby County's points records. We only need one more win in the whole season, and we will ensure we don't break that record.
That's good.
So there with the positives. You can never accuse me of being negative.
We can't be the shittest team in Premier League history. Then that's at least.
We can only be. No, we still can actually. Technically, we still can. Technically, but realistically, we won't be.
It's just quite unlikely. Yeah, mate. In terms of. I was actually saying to Chris before we came on air, like I'm not 100% sold on either sort of opinion. Like I'm not totally Marsh out. I'm not totally Marsh in. There's bits of it which, you know, it doesn't come down to one person. It's not one man. But the thing that sort of is the overwhelming feeling from the last few games that I can't kind of shake is, could another manager get more out of these players? And you'd struggle to look at the results and performances, take away that Arsenal game and say, nah, no one else could do a better job than this. And, you know, look, it's not just Jesse Marsh's fault. I mean, the recruitment over a 5 transfer window period, again, I was saying in the last big match preview, we've had 5 transfer windows now since we've come up. 2 of them we've done all right in. Those 2 that we've done all right in, we still bought in players like Dan James, Junior Firpo, Llorente, Rodrigo, and, you know, there's been experiments with players that haven't worked out, but at least 3 of those 5 transfer windows, we've done nothing. We've stood still. And like Chris has always said, you stand still, you go backwards in this league. And, you know, I think from finishing 9th, the board have taken a massive gamble and they've undercompensated too many times. And realistically, you know, you take out one decision that they've made in the whole of the tenure, realistically, you could probably say it is pretty much a 75% failure success rate. Like they're not really making good, they haven't got a good track record of making great decisions between the lot of them. We all are grateful for a wonderful period in our lives of having that promotion season and even the season before and that first season in the Premier League. 3 great years, but you know, either side of that, there's been a horrendous year under 2 managers that most people will try their best to forget. And then probably another year of another manager that people will try their best to forget when it goes. But with the thing with Marsh is I'm starting to sort of hear the interviews with him, hear the interviews with Kinnear, and just this thing that keeps getting troped out about we'll see until the World Cup. Like I'm starting to believe it. I got to the point now where I kind of think it doesn't matter what the result is tomorrow. Doesn't matter whether we get anything out of Bournemouth. They ain't going to get rid of him before the World Cup. So we're stuck with it. And that makes it even more hard to take because realistically, whatever happens tomorrow, you know, obviously if we weren't on an 8-game without winning run, you'd probably say it was a free hit anyway. But to not get 3 points out of Bournemouth next weekend is just not perceivable. Like if we don't get at least 3 points next weekend, surely any other manager would be gone. 10 games without a win, 2 points from possible 30. You've got to say it's time to go. But anyone else, I mean, he got 6 games. You know, other managers have never got this amount of time without these results. But, you know, at the same time, they've invested this summer. They bought in players specifically for him, for his system. I can almost understand it, but at the same time, like, it goes back to that question. Can someone else get more out of these players? And surely you've got to think on 7 of the last 8 games. Surely someone could.
I think when you go on the run we've been on, I think it's definitely a fair point. You know, I've not made my views on Marsh clear on this channel. It's not right for me to do that, you know, in terms of the position I'm in. You know, for me, when I do look at it, though, I still think there's only 5 games until January. You know, I think that's a positive. You know, I think the fact that last season you're playing half a season.
5 of those games, but 3 of them are
but
Liverpool, Man City, and Tottenham.
What I'm going to say with that is, though, it's the fact that we've still got over half the season to go at with potentially big signings through the door. We've got to get that January window right. January is our chance to put things right. I think you look at Newcastle last season. I know we've not got that kind of money. I know that. You bring in a leader at the back. All of a sudden, you make the whole back four more comfortable. it looks better as a unit. You bring in a striker, another option up top who can maybe take the chances that we're creating. Arsenal game, the Palace game, it has a different feel to it. Will it be too late by January? I don't know. But whatever we do, we have to get that January window right. And it could change our season. It did it with Newcastle. I know Newcastle could shop in a bigger market and all this lot, but they brought in Dan Burn. Dan Burn costs about 5 or 6 million. You get that recruitment right in January, this season can still be saved. I will still stand by that. But can we get January right? Can we get it right? That's the big, big question. That's it.
We both just know.
I'll tell you how January will go right now. I'll tell you how January will go right now. We'll sign absolutely no one. We'll make a load of noise that we're going.
We can't do that.
Gakpo again, who's playing Champions League football at the minute. We're going to go get Cody Gakpo. No, we're not. We're not going to sign anybody. And the reason Jesse's still in a job for me is because the board are as panicked and as inept as the manager is currently, and they don't know what to do. So it's just a case of stick with our man. Remember, I don't know what we're all worried about, because according to our chairman and owner, it's impossible that we could get relegated this season. Impossible. I mean, come on, tell me this football club is not a complete joke at the minute when you got the chairman spouting off like that. I mean, it just beggars belief, right?
Yeah.
I know you can't say much, Oscar, but I can.
Just looking at some of these comments that are coming in. People are coming for me, I have aged a lot this year. Guys, sport-wise, I support Leeds United and Ferrari in Formula One. I don't have a happy life. I don't know anything but stress and depression and upset, and just you get your hopes up. You get all your hopes up all weekend, and then it absolutely just kicks you in the bollocks. But look, I'll never stop. I'll never stop loving him despite everything that's going on. But yeah, this season, I've said before, in a previous video, it feels like the previous relegation from the Premier League. I don't know, if you guys obviously will remember that. In terms of we stayed up on the last day of that season, away at Arsenal. People remember it, 3-2, Mark Viduka scores and that lot. And you feel like, wow, we're going to kick on now. And then the next season we go down. Simple as that. We go down. Roque Jr. comes in. It's an absolute disaster from the first minute. It's just an absolute disaster. I still remember Mark Viduka trying to fight Ivan Campo when we went down at Bolton. It was a disaster, and it feels like it's happening again. Points after their 11 games are pretty much the same. Lamine Sacco is being mentioned as well. Jermaine Pennant, I'll throw in there. Jody Morris. Who else are we going to throw in there? To be fair, Chris George, we stopped you winning the league. But I'm not going to brag about that because we made Man United win the league. It's the most Leeds United thing possible, that. We stopped Arsenal from winning the league, and then we made Man United win the league, and then we went down anyway the season after. There is nothing more Leeds United than that. It horribly feels like a repeat of things again. In terms of Jesse Marsh is in a similar situation to what Peter Reid was back then. I actually met Peter Reid in the summer and spoke to him a little bit about that season. I'm not going to go into that discussion, but there's the Portsmouth 6-1 as well. It feels a lot like that already. Defensively, it's not got any better. I still think we probably got a better team than what we had back then. I think back then we had a horrendous team, if we're being honest. We had 3 or 4 really good players. The rest of it was just nowhere near Premier League standard. But nonetheless, the Premier League's gone up a level since then. In terms, you look at Nottingham Forest, the bottom of the table, they spent 200 million in the summer. So it just, I don't know, do you agree with this, Phil? Does it feel like that's happening all over again? In terms of, would you go that negative early doors, that it feels like we're really up against it just to stay up already this season? Never mind progress on what we did last year in terms of finishing higher than 17th. Is 17th something you just absolutely take now?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you guys might remember this better than me. I'm trying to guess or remember, but were the 3 teams that went down that season us, Wolves, and Leicester? Am I wrong? I know Wolves defo went down with us, didn't they?
Yeah, Leicester did as well, actually.
Yeah, so it could very well be the same 3 teams that go down this year. I had that thought the other day, and I was just thinking, that season was just painful. There was in fact, I think we beat Chelsea 2-0, didn't we? Jermaine Pennant scored. So we had that beat Chelsea at home that season as well. And then obviously there's so many similarities and parallels drawing here that it does feel incredibly similar. We had a great team 2 years before that very narrowly missed out on European football. We had a really good striker that scored a shitload of goals and got himself in England contention and then kept getting injured. It sounds a lot like the modern day, really, doesn't it? The only difference was we were in the Premier League a lot longer last time.
I just want to approach this comment here in terms of from Lee Shank. I don't get the point of this comment, really. I've personally not said anything about Jesse directly, but we've got a right not to be happy. We not got a right not to be happy. I don't think we're being unreasonable. I think we are. 8 games into a really poor spell. Of games we should have won, and I don't know. I don't get that comment. To be honest, I'll be honest. I don't get that comment. It's I think the fans have been incredibly supportive. You look back at last season, there was only 10 minutes at the end of that Brighton game where the fans really turned on anyone. In terms of when it looked like we were going down, that last 10 minutes. In terms of the chance that happened, I think the fans have been incredibly supportive these last 18 months. This has been, not just a little decline. This has been a rapid decline. You look at that 2020-2021 season, we were a couple of points from Europa League at that point. We had it all at that point.
3 points behind Spurs, who did get into Europe.
Yeah. And that's it. I'm not saying I expected us to kick on into Europe, but we shouldn't have declined as much as we have done. And I think the fans have been incredibly supportive, considering that's happened, considering, what has happened to us. I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. I just think I think that's a little bit harsh. I do think that's a little bit harsh.
I don't think last week went toxic. The Fulham game, it was never toxic. It was just people lost the will to give a shit. People didn't. I didn't hear too many of the sack. I was East Upper, so maybe that's why. But the sack the board stuff, I didn't hear it, to be honest. I didn't hear Bielsa's name sung. I didn't hear the chants towards Jesse Marsh. The only thing I did sort of notice was at full time when Marsh walked round the pitch to clap everyone. Nobody clapped. A few people booed or gave him twos. But after a performance like that and the last 7, you can kind of understand. I don't think, apart from the Villa game last year, which, well, it was nothing to do with Jesse Marsh. That was the board that were getting all the toxicity that day. And like you said, for 10 minutes against Brighton, again, the performances leading into that game against Brighton were fucking woeful. Even when we beat Watford 3-0 away from home, it was a terrible game to watch in terms of the football on display. So for the style of, for what we had, I mean, I know people all say we were going to go down under Bielsa. What your opinion on that is irrelevant. But from the football that we used to play to the football that we have played since Jesse Marsh came in, whether you like it or not, whether it brings results or not, it isn't great to watch at times. There's only been maybe 2 games where it's been enjoyable to watch at all. So to say the fans have spent maybe less than an hour or probably less than half an hour actually really making their feelings known to the board or to the manager about how things are going, I don't think it's been that bad. I think if we concede the first goal against Bournemouth, then maybe we change that.
But it hasn't been bad. I don't see, the fans haven't been unfair on anyone.
No.
For me, I don't agree with that at all. And I like a lot of what we do as a club, but it's just not coming together at all. Last couple of years at all. But the fans haven't turned at all. If you
not
think
in
about
the stadium, perhaps on Twitter, but not in the stadium.
Yeah, but that happens to every fan base.
Yeah.
There are Man City fans who moan about Pep Guardiola and Erling Haaland and that lot. You can't judge things on Twitter. You know what I mean? You can't judge it off that. It's all about what happens in the ground. Patrick Bamford misses a couple of chances. You still hear his name being chanted every single week. I just can't get on board with that at all. It's actually annoyed me a bit, to be honest. It's not just that comment. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's just the media narrative as being like, oh, the Leeds fans are turning already, kind of thing. Turning already, I don't know. It just feels like whenever something negative happens with Leeds, the outside just takes it as a chance to have a go at us every single time. And that really should drive us on for this Liverpool game, but it won't do. Let's be honest, it won't do at this moment in time. It just feels so negative. But CK, I mean, if you were going to go about January now, how would you go about fixing the season? Okay, you've got 3 things. What 3 things would you do to fix Leeds United's season from here, from your point of view?
From here, right now?
Yeah.
Sack Jesse Marsh, get a new manager in. Give them the time to review the squad before everyone buggers off to the World Cup when we have the stupid mid-season break that was being enforced on us. Then in the January transfer window, you finally got to plug the gaps. So that is buy a striker who can score goals. Funnily enough, who'd have thought you'd need one of them? Buy a left back who isn't like Bambi on ice. Buy at least one centre back who is better than what we've got. And buy, for me, another central midfielder as well, because it's glaringly obvious that when Tyler Adams is out, there's nothing else there to cover him. I would suggest probably similar for Rocker. So we need at least 4, and these aren't squad signings. These are first team players we need to sign. But in the January transfer window, to get those 4 players, you're talking at least £150 million. I can 100% guarantee you now, Leeds aren't spending £15 million in the January transfer window, never mind 150. So I'm sat here with my, gristle, not crystal balls. Just, it's not going to happen. And for me, I said it after the post. I think it was after Fulham. We're going down. Let's not sugarcoat this. We'll be in the Championship next season. We are the worst team in this league, without a shadow of a doubt.
I mean, I said at the end of the Fulham game in terms of that there's no Norwich and Watford in this league like last season, and it's one of them, isn't it? Like a lot of people.
1 second, Oscar. In January, when clubs know you're desperate, it does cost you that much money and more.
It costs more.
Yeah,
depends who you're going for.
Well, that's the point I was making before. In terms of January, if you get the recruitment right. In terms of, obviously, we signed Tyler Adams and Rocker for 30 million combined. You get that recruitment right, you can still get the odd bargain, but you've got to go for players that other teams don't go for. We didn't have competition for Tyler Adams.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, there's things like, that's very true, Phil. Things like that. Loan signings, potentially, like a loan signing from City or something like that. All these different bits and pieces.
Why don't we do loans anymore? It's like we've become inept at doing loans. We're like, no, not for us. We're Leeds. We're too big for taking loan players.
We've not done one for a while, have we?
No. Not that we've had much success with loan players either, to be honest.
I think the last one we did was John Kevin Augustin. And that's, I really didn't want to say that either, but I think that was the last one. Let us know in the comments down below, but I can't remember.
Costa more recent? Since then. Costa? Or was it the same
before
season?
Augustin?
Yeah.
But the point is, I still think we can salvage the season, but we've got to get January right. I still think you bring a leader at the back in, it will settle down the rest of the back 4. As CK said, you get that goal scorer into the team. All of a sudden you're thinking, right, we create chances, we can get some goals as well. It's not just all on Sinistera to score the goals as well. Yeah, I mean, the suggestions coming into the chat and that lot, but people like Eddie Nketiah, I think, is on $100,000 a week. Realistically, I'm not even sure Eddie Nketiah is the answer for us. I'm not sure he's the answer for us.
He hardly scores hatfuls for Arsenal, does he?
Well, there's that. Yeah,
it's look at the team that's around him.
Yeah, I'm not sure about doing a loan signing like that, to be honest. Ian Acho from Leicester's an option, but it's things like that. Just got to get that recruitment right in January. I think it's a make or break of our season. People are talking about the coaching changes, but I think when you got players who are a bit nervous at this moment in time, need that leadership around them. Because let's be honest, you've took Calvin out of the team. I know CK obviously after the way Calvin left, you weren't too happy with Calvin. I think a lot of Leeds fans weren't too happy with Calvin, but we can't deny he wasn't a leader in that Leeds team. In terms of he was someone when he was on the pitch, he did set some standards, which was something. And Rafinha as well. They might not have been the most vocal players, but they set standards, and that's why they've moved on to what they've moved on to. We've lost that. We have lost that. In terms of Tyler Adams is maybe one. Pascal, I suppose. We need more of that. We need more leadership into the team because it's very difficult to stay up without it.
But this again for me, mate, is where I question the manager, right? Yes, Liam Cooper's the club captain, which I agree with, and he's always been picked by the players and managers, so he obviously offers something off the pitch as well. But when Liam's not available, that armband should be on Tyler Adams for me, because he leads by example. It's no good putting it on Patrick Bamford, whose example is, well, there's the goal, I'm going to put it over there, I'm going to put the ball over there instead. And don't get me wrong, Patrick does a lot of good things, But at the end of the day, you're a striker, you're paid to score goals, and he's never been prolific. He had his first season in the Premier League, 17 goals, was great. But that was with no fans. And I genuinely convinced now that Patrick is best when there isn't a fan in the place. And he thinks he's
all not turn up.
Yeah, just no one turn up. Yeah, just empty Ellen Road for the rest of the season, and Patrick might score a few goals.
I mean, yeah, it's just tough, isn't it? It's a really tough one to do, this one, guys. And I really appreciate, obviously, the likes and obviously, hopefully, some new subscribers as well. And it just feels to me, Jill Saville's making the point here in terms of giving Gnonto a chance. I just think we need to try something different now, in terms of, but something totally different, in terms of not just trying Junior Firpo for a game at left back, then taking him out of the team, then putting him back in, or moving Aronson from right wing to number 10. Let's try something very different. For me, I don't know if you guys will agree with this. I think our team right now is best built to play a back three at the back system. 3-4-2-1. I would go, if we had everyone available, I'm interested to see what you two's thoughts are on this. I would go Meslier, Ayling, Koch, Struijk as a back three. I would go Rasmus, wing back. I would go Tyler Adams, Mark Rocker. I'd go Jack Harrison, left wing back. And I'd go Brendan Aronson, Sinisterra, and Rodrigo as the front three. I would just try something a bit different. I'd have Rasmus Christensen playing in a similar position where he did at Salzburg. I'd have Jack Harrison on that left-hand side, not on the right-hand side, on that left-hand side behind Sinisterra, because I think he can do a job at left wing back. I'd have that extra protection for the back three. Why don't we just try something different? Just something different, a different kind of shape. The 4-2-3-1's not working for us, unfortunately, especially without Tyler Adams. Let's try something different, and I just think you need to help the players now. I just think some of those players really need help. And I'm not going to start feeling sorry for players that are on 40, 50 grand a week. That's not at all what I'm saying. But if we want to get out of this situation, we need everyone comfortable, in terms of going onto that pitch with confidence. And I just think a back three might just give an extra little bit of protection to the likes of Robin Koch, Luke Ayling. I don't know. What would you say to that, guys? Just trying something different, or am I just going totally mad now?
I'm open to formation changes.
Or do we go 6 at the back? I don't know.
I've always liked the idea of Jack Harrison as a wing back. I just think he would work well there. But you scared me with the second name you mentioned and the first man going into a back three, and that's Luke Ayling, because that lad is one awful defender. Awful defender, and I won't have it said otherwise. He gets away with a lot because he's decent going forward, but defensively, that boy is an absolute shocker. He's every bit as bad as Firpo defensively. So putting him in a back three next to Robin Koch, who, let's be honest, recently turned into Diego Llorente version 2, and then poor Pascal there just ripping his luscious mane out because he's the only one who can seemingly make a tackle and kick a ball.
Or go Cooper then. Go Koch, Cooper, Struijk. I don't know. It's another option.
It's better than Ayling. Don't get me wrong, I like Luke Ayling, and I'd probably have Luke. If we're going to play wing back, I'd tend to want to play Luke at wing back because I think he's better going forward than Rasmus from what we've seen so far. But I wouldn't have him in a back three because,
I think Rasmus can cross the ball, I really do think Rasmus has got a bit of delivery about him, and I think we need to utilise that more, I'm getting stick now for picking a theoretical team. All right. I'm just saying, try something different. Try Gnonto instead of Brendan Aronson. I don't know. Try something.
Hang on. 1 second.
He was also incredibly late. That's the reason we didn't start on time, if you want to get into him.
Yeah. Just getting more stick. It's...
I'm getting dug out because I'm saying Ayling is a crap defender. The reason you see Luke Ayling make so many last-ditch blocks is because, to start with, his or someone else's position has been insanely wrong, and he's just charging back and trying to get in the way. It's not just Luke Ayling; it's the majority of them. But defensively, positioning-wise and marking-wise, he's awful. And if he was better at it, he wouldn't be having to make those last-ditch blocks. You don't see Virgil van Dijk. Maybe you do this season because he's been a bit poorer, but I'd still take him. Don't get me wrong. You'd never see Virgil van Dijk.
I'd still take him.
Still take him. But you never see players like him making a last-ditch block. Thiago Silva. You never see him in the wrong position making last-ditch tackles. It's always controlled, nice. And our lot are just like headless chickens at the back. They don't know what they're doing. Headless chickens, a lot of them. So that's why. So, yeah, I'm just saying.
See, Pellegrino sees the vision. He sees the vision. Just allow Rasmus just to focus on attacking and then see what happens. I don't know. I just don't think 4-2-3-1 is built for this current squad. I don't think. I think we need another winger in the team, who can play naturally on that right hand side. If we don't trust Gnonto just yet, I just think we need a lot more, in terms of just depth wise to play that system. I just think 3-4-2-1 keeps it a bit simpler, gives everyone that extra layer of protection. And Aronson, Sinistera, Rodrigo. I know Rodrigo gets a lot of stick, but to be fair to him this season, for me, when he's had a chance, he has took him. He has put it in the back of the net. Was it 5 goals already? In a team that's 18th in the table. He's not played every game. It's a temporary option, for Rodrigo. I know it's not a popular opinion, but he has actually scored a couple of goals for us.
I agree he's better at 9 than at 10.
Oh, yeah. There can't be any doubt about that now. Surely there's no doubt now about Rodrigo being better as a 9.
He's still not good enough, but he's a better 9 than he is a 10.
But the thing is, we've basically scored 1 and 2 so far this season. If he keeps that up, I'll take that from our centre forward this season, 1 and 2.
He can finish 5th in the Golden Boot and play Championship football next season. Winner.
Yeah. But no. Look,
he'll get a move. Don't worry.
If we're to stay up, we need someone to hit 1 and 2 for us, don't we? Let's be honest, at the very least.
At least.
Mate, with regard to the system, I'm not averse to changing things. I think it doesn't take a genius to look at the results that we've had this season and or even the performances, pick out the performances from the last 8 games. We've had one game where we've looked good. We went 4-3-3 for that game. It wasn't penis ball, wasn't 4-2-3-1. It was just something different. And I feel like the complexity with which Marsh puts on some of the choices that he makes with tactics are just daft, to the extent where you could point it out to a 6-year-old and they'd just be able to say, well, that's a bit silly. That the formation, I've said it a million times, penis ball. If you have a big cock and balls off a pitch, you've got 2 little lines down the side where there's nothing else happening. There's no one else there. So any other team is just going to go, well, we'll just put the ball there then. There's nobody stood there. It's not hard to understand. Just get a formation that sort of covers most of the pitch. That would be a start. Try and have a look at the ones that you've played this season that have brought results or have made you look good and use them. It's difficult to be able to defend him when you do something so well, like you did against Arsenal, and then you revert back to something that is just not once have I remembered penis ball working. Once, maybe Brentford again, you'd say Brentford, but nothing has worked.
Brentford were on the beach as well, weren't they? I think they've been out on the smash till 6 o'clock that morning. They were never, and they were down to 9 men in the end as well.
Yeah.
Let's not forget the bare facts of that game to win 2-1. I mean, when we get into starting lineups, mine's wildly different.
Do I go for it? Go on, CK, you get started. I've seen a couple of people ask us for a starting lineup, so CK.
Right. So I'm going.
Is this what you think it will be, or what you want it to be?
Right. Okay. Well, what? Let's go. What I want it to be.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go for that.
Let's do that first. So it can be either a 4-4-2, Mike Bassett ball, or a 4-3-3.
Getting ready for Sean Dyche.
Or it can move to 4-3-3. So Meslier net standard. Rasmus left back, Pascal, Robin Koch, Luke Ayling back 4. In midfield, the central 2, Darko Gyabi and Mark Rocker, and then a front 4 or you can put Aronson in a 3 there as well, slightly in front of those, and then the three up top would be Harrison left, Willie Gnonto right, and Sonny Perkins in the 9 role. That's what I'd start with. And if you go 4-4-2, obviously I'd play Aronson very close to Sonny Perkins in a real high 10 role.
Okay. What do you think it'll be? Tomorrow.
All right, here's what I think it'll be. I can't remember all the
They're changing tone.
Meslier, I think Ayling will stay at right back. Cock and Llorente, and Pascal probably at left back. I think you'll put Pascal back there. I think it will be Greenwood and Rocker in midfield, which is awful. I think Harrison comes back in with Sinistera being out anyway. Aronson, Bamford, and one other. I don't know who the one other will be. I can't even think.
Somerville, if Sinistera's out.
Do you know what? He's another one. People carry on about Somerville.
I actually
what has he done?
I thought Somerville did okay when he came against Fulham. He was actually trying to make things happen.
I'm not going to lie, mate. I could have come on against Fulham and looked like I was making things happen, apart from what we've been seeing before he came on. He made a couple of good runs, but I mean, yeah, maybe Somerville. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, fine. Somerville, he can go in there as well.
Okay. Phil, let us know what you think about that, guys. In terms of potential lineups, let us know. Phil, what are you saying? Let's start with what you want it to be. Or whichever way you want to start it.
Not too different to Chris, to be honest. I mean, I think I've probably made it quite clear. I'd stick with 4-3-3, like from the Arsenal game. But again, like Chris said, it's not going to happen. It will be 4-2-3-1, and the choices will be quite depressing. I don't mind the back four of Chris's. That's absolutely fine by me. I just think Christensen hasn't been played at left back, and I just don't see it happening. I like the idea of Pascal and Cock as a centre half pairing, because realistically, it's the only one that we haven't had any sort of view of this season, but we know it works. If Cooper is out, I just don't want to see Llorente and Cock. But the problem is, if Llorente and Cock don't start, Firpo will. So it is lose-lose. If I could, I'd take Chris's back four over any of the other possible iterations it could be. We're not going to see a three at the back. I'd be really surprised if we did. It's just too much of a change in the space of a few days. And I just don't... Has he ever played three at the back? I just don't see it happening. But the three in midfield, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to be able to say Darko Diaby's going to get in, but again, I just don't see it. It's going to be Rocker, Greenwood, and Aronson as a three, if it is going to be a three, and I'm all right with that as within reason. The only real change I'd make from Chris's hopeful lineup would be I don't think I'd necessarily start a player like Sonny Perkins. I think you'd have to keep Bamford in, because I think Bamford does more for the system. I accept that his finishing's been woeful. He's not on form and he needs to find that form. But the way that he contributes to the way that we play, I know we haven't played very well for a very long time, but I think Bamford has a lot more importance than just scoring goals. So I would have patience with him. But I think tomorrow we definitely, if what Marsh said about how many people might be injured or doubtful and aren't involved, you've got to see some of the names that Chris has said on the bench. Willie Gnonto has to at least make the bench. Sonny Perkins or Mateo Joseph, not necessarily both, but one you should expect could make the bench if Joffrey's not going to be on it. Giabi again could be on it. It's just got to be something that isn't the same useless shit, but, coming on to what I expect. An hour before kickoff tomorrow, 4-2-3-1. Ayling probably keeps his place at right back rather than Rasmus, which, Rasmus has been in good form, so it's harsh. But again, I can kind of understand there's such a lack of leadership in that team, and he sees Luke Ayling as a leader. If Cooper's not going to be playing, maybe he just gives the armband to Ayling. If Cooper won't play, he'll give the armband to Ayling. But yeah, as long as Firpo's not a left back, I think Strauch will continue. It'll be Llorente and Cock. Greenwood and Rocker as the 2 sixes, which again, I'm not sold on. I'm not a big fan of. Somerville will probably start on the right. Harrison, honestly, fuck knows who the 10 is going to be. I really don't know. I think the obvious thing to do would be to put Matthias Klick in, but I just don't think he'll do that either. I honestly don't know who he'll put in there, but I think he will stick with Bamford up front.
Okay, and big thanks to Ted Gowan as well for the super chat. Thank you all for this broadcast in difficult times. the true fans like you are bringing your thoughts and not simply hiding. Really appreciate that, mate. Thanks very much. And our man Lolo is here as well to say, "What up, lads? What up?" It's a lot's up, mate. A lot is up.
Everything.
Really Yorkshire type answer to that.
Most of the league is up.
Yeah.
At this moment in time, life's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've already told you what I'd go with. I would genuinely change to a back three. I genuinely or a back five, whichever way you want to look at it, just to maybe make things a little bit more stable. Have that extra body in the back, in the heart of the defense, to make things a little bit more solid in that area, and just try and get more bodies going forward as well. In terms of having wing backs as well, who I think can play wing back. I think Jack Harrison can do a job for us as a wing back. I think Jack Harrison's better on the left. I think Sinisterra's better on the left. I think both should play on the left if possible. And I think that's a way of testing it. I just don't think Jack Harrison's built to play on that right-hand side right now. I think, if anything, we've not seen Gnonto play yet, but I think Aronson's probably looked the best. And he's not even a winger on that right-hand side, which is a concern as well. I think Somerville's probably better on the left too. So it's quite unbalanced in that respect. What I think the team will be, I personally think Tyler Adams will play. I think Tyler Adams will play because if he's even close to being fit, I think he gets put in for this game. I think Jesse, I'm generalising a bit here, but I think Jesse is less wary on playing players that are just coming back from injury than what Marcelo Bielsa was. I think Marcelo Bielsa would have waited a long, long time, but I think Jesse will want to get Tyler Adams in. That's just my personal opinion. I think if he's available, he might come off after an hour or so.
I personally don't care if Tyler's on crutches, he should play.
Well, there's that case to it. I mean, if Tyler Adams is even close to fitness, he has to play. I think he's our most important player. I think that definitely showed on Sunday. I think it will be a back four. I agree, Aylin. I think he'll keep his place in the team. I think it'll be Pascal at left back. I think the centre-back pairing will be Koch and Llorente. I do genuinely think that. I think Coops is a slightly different situation. I think it will be... I don't think we've decided yet in terms of our first choice back four. I wouldn't be able to tell you what our first choice back four is because we've swapped and changed it that many times. I've not really found a solution yet. So I think it will be Koch and Llorente. I'm saying this is what I think the team will be, not what I want it to be, by the way, just to say. Front four, again, Sinisterra is a similar one to Adams for me. I think if he's close to fitness, I think he will also start. If not, it'll be Somerville on that left-hand side, Jack Harrison on the right, Brendan Harrison through the middle, and Rodrigo, if he's close to fitness, or Bamford up top. It'll be one of those two for me. And yeah, that's what I'd kind of expect for the game.
Great.
Yeah. It feels as fresh as Chris now.
I was when we started, mate.
It's just, I just can't get over the Willie Gnonto situation. I don't understand it. I think Michael's just said he's built like a truck. He shifts he's like grease lightning, and the ball sticks to his feet. Just do something different. Let's just try him. An unknown, get him up against someone and just do fucking something.
He could be our Joffrey from last season. I still say he's still the one player we don't know about yet. And I can't understand it for me. I think if you're good enough to play for Italy, then you're good enough to at least get on the bench for us, if not start. That's my personal opinion. I think the fact that we're having so many problems down that right-hand side, our creativity down that right-hand side at this moment in time is nil. Let's totally have it right. Our creativity down that side is nothing. All our threat comes down the left-hand side. Struijk, Rocker, Sinisterra combining on the left-hand side. That's where the creativity comes from. Sometimes Brendan Aronson in between them lines in that number 10 role. I can't think of anything we created down that right-hand side other than the odd Rasmus Christensen cross from deep.
Rocker's goal.
Enough. What's that?
Rocker's goal against Brentford, but that's it.
Yeah, in fact, that was Caden, wasn't it, involved in that one? Yeah, so one goal that I can think of in, 11 games? It's not good. It's not good. And, it's not exactly repeatable, is it? Getting Mark Rocker in the box. And it's not something you can do every single week, is it? So it's still...
But again, mate, I think we're fans and we can identify that we've got nothing on that right-hand side, right? Yeah. So do we not think Premier League managers can identify that? So then they just go, well, their danger side is the left, whether it be Harrison, Sinistera. Let's just pile everyone over there, stop them playing down, give them the right-hand side.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's exactly that, mate.
Donkeys.
But it's the same with the pressing. Teams don't play out the back against us because they know it invites us on to press them up at the front. And then if we win the ball back, we're really close to goal and we might get a chance from it. Teams don't do that against us now. Liverpool might, to be fair, because Liverpool are built like an elite team. They might try and do it. But it'd be very difficult to press Liverpool because they've got unbelievable technicians, haven't they? They've got really good players on the ball. So it's not going to be easy. But we've got to try, for me, something different down that right-hand side. Yeah. As much as the striking problems there. And then, listen, in fairness to Jesse Marsh, he clearly thinks there's a problem because we haven't played the same player on that right-hand side all season. We've changed it pretty much every single game. It hasn't ran the same player. We had Dan James at the start of the season on that right-hand side. We had Brendan Aronson on that right-hand side. Then he went to Dan James. Then he went to Jack Harrison for a bit. Then it went back to Brendan Aronson. Then it went back to Jack Harrison. Then we tried Somerville there for a game. Then it went back to Jack Harrison. We're not happy with that right-hand side, like the back four. And it's just...
do you know what we'll sign in January? A left winger.
Well, this is it about the... And in fact, Sinistera played there for a bit on the right-hand side. And you've got to have your best player in his best position for me. So it's a... Considering we lost someone as well that went to Barcelona, it's a bit of an issue. It's a bit of an issue.
It's just laughable, mate. It really is. And I think you've got to laugh now, and we're 10 games into the season, and I've already gone past crying and just sit laughing.
But we're 10 games in, CK. We're 10 games in.
I know. And
it shouldn't feel like this.
No, I've accepted our fate. 10 games into the season, just over 25% of the season gone, and I'm like, this season's shit. We're done. We're going down.
But it's like a Cellino season. Like every single season on the Cellino was done by October because we'd be on our third manager. Steve Evans or someone like that will have walked in at this point in the season.
In his sombrero.
It's not quite that bad. It's nowhere near that bad, actually. I still think back to that day when Steve Evans was appointed as Leeds United manager, as well as Neil Warnock and Dennis Wise. Three people who absolutely despise Leeds United got the job in the space of 5 or 6 years. It's not that bad yet. It's not that bad. It's nowhere near that bad. So just for my own comfort, I just think back to that day when Steve Evans got the Leeds United job and think Dave Hockaday as well. It's very, very bad at this moment in time, but it's not that bad. I thought we were going back to League One at that point. I was accepting we're going to be a League One team again. So it's not quite that bad yet. A bit of positives. We haven't appointed Steve Evans, so there you go.
We've appointed the American Steve.
No. That's harsh. That's harsh. Steve Evans. I've never seen Leeds United play as bad football as what we did under Steve Evans. I've never quite seen anything.
But you know what, mate?
That bad.
Honestly, out of all the seasons that I've been going to watch Leeds United, that period of those crazy managers under that crazy ownership was one of my favourite times being a fan because we'd given up on the football, so we just went.
Pretty much.
Pissed, had a laugh, and just got rowdy in the ground. And
the away days were class in that area now.
It was brilliant, mate. I absolutely loved supporting the club then because we're just there's absolutely going into a season, be like, fucking another shit season of football on the way. Let's get pissed. And
basically every season we finished 13th. We'd always finish bottom half of the table every season. And then we had. Do you remember that year we had under Gary Monk and everyone was getting excited because we might make the playoffs this season? We might make the playoffs. That was how low the standards got. And it's not quite that bad. But, Jesus. It's
Great times, though.
Great times. I don't know about great times. I think that's an exaggeration. I don't know if we can describe Dave Hockaday and that Watford away game where we lost 4-1 and went down to 9 men after about 10 minutes.
I went to that game. What a long-ass journey that was to watch that shower of shit.
That was, dearie me. And Brighton away, I think we were 4 down after half an hour. I think that was under Steve Evans, actually. Yeah, there's... but listen...
away when we got beat 4-1 as well. Calvin scored a free kick. I was absolutely hammered that game. I had a great day out.
But the worrying thing is, we're probably closer to that now than where we were 18 months ago. If we're being honest, right now, that's the depressing thing. If I'm being totally honest with you now, that's how worrying things are at this moment in
We
time for me.
are, and again, like you said earlier, mate, the Premier League improves year on year. There's no whipping boys this season. There isn't Norwich's and Watford's, who you can almost say, yeah, definitely going down. And our club is going backwards. It's gone. I'd say the squad's better than last season's, but we still haven't got a striker. We still haven't got a proper left back, so it's still not great.
We could throw away everything this season.
Where we were 2 years ago.
We could lose. Everything's on the line now for Leeds United. We could lose everything this season, genuinely.
Yeah. I can answer that one, though. It's because he's the manager of Liverpool. I was quite annoyed about it, actually, because I was like, didn't Jesse and Tuchel and others get touchline bans for less?
Yeah, but CK, the game needs a referee.
Well, true.
Very good.
Very nice. I like that, Oscar.
Bit of comedy. It's good to blind that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can see who's the German in the block.
Well, remember,
anyway,
he came charging when Harvey Elliott got injured and didn't pay any attention to his injured player and just wanted to berate the referee for not immediately sending Pascal off. So
and we're like 3-0 up at this point in the game as well.
Probably.
Or something like that. It finished 3-0 anyway. Might go and watch Harrogate Town in New Year if this carries on.
Do it. Geisley are not a bad shout. Hot dogs are good. I'm sure you can get a burger and a pint for £5. It's a better day out. Fuck it.
Probably less, to be fair, guys.
Probably.
Yeah.
Get change.
You're not getting hit with inflation in Geisley. I really like Geisley, actually. I'm not messing there any messing.
I love how hard you want to talk about anything other than the fact we're playing Liverpool tomorrow.
God, that's depressing. Cheers, Phil. I forgot it was Liverpool.
Yeah, I forgot who we were playing tomorrow. I was.
Do you know what I said to Phil, Oscar, before we went live? The worst.
Yeah, when you were waiting for me for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, the worst thing that could have happened for us was them getting beat by Forest.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they're just going to come out and absolutely run over us tomorrow.
Yeah, I think obviously Nunes didn't play that Forest game either. He's going to be hungry. And I think the media went really early on Nunes as well, saying he was a flop. And you're thinking, no, he's an absolute beast. You actually watch him, you think he's an absolute tank.
A better goals ratio this season than Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah. He's playing in a far worse team at this moment in time. He really worries me tomorrow, as much as Salah does. Salah, obviously, Salah's one of the best players in the world.
Nunes is going to bully our back line.
Yeah, there's a real worry. He's, anything in the air, he's going to win. Yeah. He's fast as well. People don't estimate how fast he is. He's absolutely rapid. So you got Firmino there. Firmino's in the form of his life. In terms of probably his best form in terms of goals and assists. He's absolutely on fire. Van Dijk's never lost a game at Anfield. I do believe that's correct.
It is true. I've seen that.
Records are made to be broken. Records are made to be broken. No one's going to bite at that.
Just hoping James Milner gets homesick and just bags 3 for us.
That's one in the back of his own net.
Yeah. We'll need him to score an own hat-trick because we'll need that many.
See if he'll just hand in a transfer request and come back in January. Probably get him on a free so he won't have to spend a penny anyway. He could go left back.
Yeah, better than what.
So you want to sign someone who's not a left back to play at left back?
I'd sign him.
Still better than our actual left back.
Yeah.
Can we not just sign a left back to play at left back?
Clearly not.
Even Phil's encouraging us to buy someone to play him out of position at left back.
Hey, this summer we sold 5 left backs and still didn't bring one in. Chris is right. We can't sign a left back. Well, if you're including Leaf Davis, Lawrence de Bock,
Lawrence de Bock
was that last season? Barry Douglas, was that last season or this season?
He was still on our books, wasn't he, last season? He was on loan.
I thought he'd gone before that.
There was 5 altogether. There's a couple in the youth academy. I did it in
Niall Huggins went in last January, didn't they?
Huh?
Yeah.
Niall Huggins went quite a bit ago to Sunderland, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's 5, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter in terms of the debate here. But
Berardi could play left back. That was last summer.
In all seriousness, though, you have to look at our dressing room in terms of Pablo's gone, Berardi's gone, Alioski's gone, KP's gone, Rafinha's gone. Who else have we got out of that team?
Forshaw's basically gone. Dallas is basically gone.
Dallas as well. I know they're not necessarily the most technically gifted players. Obviously, Rafinha is, but I'm talking about people like Berardi, Shuey Dallas, and that lot. But the leadership, the dressing room.
I'd give my left bollock for Dallas to be back at left back right now. Yeah. I really would. He's 10 times the left back, and he's not a left back than any other option we've got there. Pascal's done a job. He has been our best defender this season, but Pascal should be in the centre. He's a centre back and a good centre back.
Doesn't matter how good you are, you need leadership in the team. Yeah. I've said this has been my constant theme of what I've said, and people get bored of what I'm saying. I'll still make the same points. We have to address this in January. We have to get more. The recruitment have gone down. I think it has been good. Let's have it right. Brendan Aaronson's been good so far. Sinistera's been good. Adams has been excellent. Rocker, I think, has been good. Christensen, I think, is gradually getting better. We're more used to this league and system. But it's quite it's a young recruitment.
Yeah, we don't have to sign anyone over 30, though, do we? It's normal.
No, it doesn't have to. But Phil, it doesn't have to be anyone over 30. It can be someone 25, 26. You can still be a leader at 25 or 26. But they're not leader-type players for me that were brought into the team. And we've lost the likes of Berardi that I've mentioned, Alioski. Dallas is obviously not around.
But these are people with experience. We're not bringing in experience. We're bringing young, inexperienced, raw potential. That's kind of whether that's first team potential or
no. I agree. No, I've no problem with that. I've no problem with that in terms of as our general method. Yeah. But I think there does need to be a little bit of flexibility in terms of bringing in a leader at the back, a goal scorer up top. An experienced head in terms of the Premier League and that kind of sense, and maybe a bit more experience in midfield as backup to Adams and Rocker in that lot. We can still do all that you're saying there, Phil. But if you make another 2 signings that are a bit more experienced, like, do you really think Newcastle that when they were bought out, they planned to sign Dan Burn in January and Chris Wood? No,
Matt
they didn't
Target.
plan to do that at all. What's that? Sorry,
Matt Target as well.
Matt Target, but it gave them that. It gave that. All important. It made everyone else's level go up a level. Certainly Dan Burn. I thought he was a really good sign. I keep going on about him. Matt Target as well. Premier League experience, and it got the rest of the team together and more resolute in that lot.
Why didn't we go get a James Tarkowski? Someone like that.
Yeah, it's like that. No, Phil. CK. It's a signing like that. Everton were absolutely all over the place until he signed Connor Cody.
Yeah.
They made that kind of. They've obviously brought in Neil Maupay as well. Neil Maupay's maybe not being so good, but it's that kind of recruitment for me. And I'd rather, I really don't want Neil Maupay at the club. I'm not advocating that at all. But I'm saying it's that type of signing.
Yeah, you're right. And
it's not like, just making those signings, but having that on top of the younger players too. Because you look at like Joe Linton last season.
I agree. The players that we've brought in the summer are good players. They've improved the squad. But we didn't fill the obvious gaps. And it's stats that are out there like if Patrick Bamford had taken the majority of his clear-cut chances that he's had this season, we'd be 5 points better off. Now, that's a huge difference in this league table. And if we'd have brought in a proper striker who the manager was willing to play and not sulk and leave him in the 23s because he didn't want him, and we're not saying another striker will take all those chances, but we're potentially 3, maybe 4 points better off than what we currently are. And that makes that league table look a whole lot different. And that's why you've got to have that clinical striker. And for all Paddy brings, if we're going to persist with playing Paddy because of everything else he does, which is brilliant, you need someone in close to him who'll score goals.
I agree. Listen, this is the point I'm making. In terms of that front 4, Aronson's a good player. Bamford's a good player. They bring a lot to the team. But are they going to score that many goals? What's the most Brendan Aronson scored in the season? 5 or 6? I really like Brendan Aronson. I think he should start week in, week out. But he needs more output around him, to get the best out of what he does. He's not a goal scorer. He's someone who creates stuff for other people. We can't start relying on Brendan Aronson for goals. And Paddy Bamford is a similar situation. But if you bring that experienced head on the right-hand side or try something different balance-wise, I think it gives a whole different feel to it. Look, Joel Linton before Newcastle did all the recruitment, looked like they won the worst signs in Premier League history. You get a bit more experience in that midfield. Guimaraes. I'm not saying that we're going to sign a Bruno Guimaraes. I'm not saying that at all. But the same point applies. They had a bit more experience in there. It settled the whole team down, and they got the best out of the underperforming players. It happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. It's not just down to coaching. You bring better players around the place. Your own performance improves as well. That's people will disagree with that, but I really do think that January window could change our season if we want it to. If we want it to. So
we want it to. I'll tell you.
I know that, but we've got to go for it. We've absolutely just got to go for it now. Got 3/4 of the season to go. We've got another pre-season here. If we're clever about it, we've got another pre-season to sort out the absolute colossal cock-up we've made of this first 12, 14 games of the season. We've got a second chance. We've got a bit of luck here. We've got a pre-season that's come in.
But who spends the money?
Get away with it. We might just get away with it with a pre-season, a second pre-season, a January window. But we've got to sort things out. We've got to accept that
the problem isn't going to spend the money. 49ers aren't going to spend the money. They're tight-fisted. I keep seeing people in the comments whenever I'm on the streams going, get the 49ers in. They don't spend it on their own NFL team.
Yeah.
So they're not going to spend it on Leeds United. People are expecting all of a sudden a 200, 300 million pound straight up the Swanee. It's not going to happen. We need, again, and it sounds ridiculous to say as we're going through the world's longest takeover I've ever known of a football club, but we need proper investment, not another consortium or franchise like the 49ers are that are going to go, the Americans have hardly got a good run in this game with what they're doing. The Glaziers have absolutely rinsed scum. FSG have done all right with Liverpool, yes. We could keep rattling them off. So people don't expect the world to change when the 49ers take majority control, because it isn't going to.
Nah. I'm the same, mate. I'm just so skeptical of the takeover, and I'm at the point where I'm like, I want somebody to just tell me you own this club and tell me you're going to put the money in, because it seems to me like the ownership and the board, everything's coming towards an end. The cycle is coming towards an end. We all know that, but they're dragging the fuck out of it. And realistically, I don't have too much confidence in the 49ers, not because I know too much about NFL, because I don't, but more just out of being purely skeptical based on what Leeds United owners have been since I was born. There hasn't been a good one. Rads is the best of a bad bunch for me. And I've always said the whole way through, like, he's one decision, and let's be honest, it was Orta's decision to bring Bielsa in. He's one decision away from being a terrible owner. Obviously, he bought back the stadium. He can have that. Gave us 4 parts. Yeah, you can have that. There are bits that are good, but there's still Badgegate. There's still Myanmar. There's still sacking a manager every 6 months like Watford. There's a lot in there that isn't great either. So it's hard for me to just sort of sit here and go, 49ers are coming and it'll all be fine. If the 49ers are coming in, get the announcement made now and put the money in. Genuinely go out and spend it in January, like you said, Oscar, like it's another pre-season, like it's another summer.
We've effectively got a second chance here,
but we know, mate,
up for all the mistakes we made.
January, we don't spend money. We never have. I just can't see it.
It has to change. It has to change. I don't care how it changes, but it has to change.
We could have said the same last season. Literally within 3 weeks, they backed Bielsa and sacked Bielsa. Like, it makes no difference as to what we need. They didn't go out and get it last season. They're not going to get it this season. And
last season, though, we were in a mess last season, but it wasn't as bad as what it is now. Like this is a lot worse that we're in right now. I mean, last season we were still above the relegation zone.
We didn't go in until like the last week.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what's forgotten a lot about last season, that we didn't actually drop into that relegation zone until, was it the Arsenal game, the City game? Whichever, it was like 3 or 4 games to go. It was late on in the season.
Yeah.
In fact, I think if we'd have gone down last season, we'd have broken the record, I think, for like
spending the
least time spent and to go down. But that's very Leeds United, that. We're also the first ever team to be top of the championship and not go up in that season, by the way. So, there's several different things. Yeah.
Stop at Christmas and not go up.
It's
that's just how we do it.
But the concern to me is if you put that first Bielsa team, say that first Bielsa season, up against the team now, it passes it right now, and that's a concern. We're 4 years down the line. We have to, yeah, I'm not. There's always listen. As the song goes, there's always ups and downs. There's always going to be ups and downs, but you got to learn from the downs.
Yeah, I'd like to see a few ups, if I'm honest.
Well, the up was going up, but
I don't think. I tend to agree with Michael there in the last comment. I think January's too late anyway. I think we're pretty much down.
There's only 5 games between now and January.
Yeah, and I think we're pretty much down after 15 games. I think we're that bad. We're that bad, and I don't see January changing it.
Are there 3 teams worse? That's the question. Are there 3 worse teams in this division?
There isn't one team worse for me.
Maybe.
Bournemouth will stay up.
I think we can drag Bournemouth into it.
They'll be down in and around, but I think Bournemouth will do what we did last season. I think they'll finish 17th. Wolves probably going down with us. Wolves are probably the other team where I'd say they're a bit crap, but there's only us and I'd say with
Southampton.
The 2 worst teams in the league. Nah, Southampton always grind it out, mate.
Reckon?
Forest has got a bit of spine. They brought in some great players this season, young, hungry players who their manager is actually playing. And yeah, they take the odd pump in, but they also pick up points where not expected as well. So I think Saints will be fine. Yeah, and that's it. There's no Norwich or Watford. We're not fighting over one position this season.
There's no whipping boy. We are very much in that.
There's no 12 points. Norwich and Watford are just 12 points for everyone. Yeah, you can just say
struggle to get them.
But you get the 12 points, then you've already got a third of what you need to stay up. That's what worries me a bit. Not having a Norwich or Watford in there.
We just can't seem to beat the teams around us anymore. We can nick the odd result here or there, but it's the teams around you. You've got to take points in them games, and we did the last 2 seasons. Maybe not so much last season, but
last season we still did. We 4 points off Burnley. We beat,
didn't we? We did pick those points. We picked up draws at least. I mean, don't get me wrong. I sat here on this channel as one of the first Leeds fans to come out of, from behind the Bielsa curtain and say things need to change. And that was because we'd taken 4 hammerings from 4 big teams, but I didn't like the way he was reluctant to change anything. So I said, it's time for a change. And we're having a worse run of form now under Jesse. So at least I'm consistent because I'm saying it's time to change it. It's time to change it. And we can keep, however, I do agree as well that we can keep changing managers. But if we can't get a squad that's good enough for the league and a board, an owner who's going to spend enough money to get those players, then we'll keep doing the manager merry-go-round. And I'll keep sitting here every 6 months and going, sack the manager, because nothing else is changing. It's always the manager who's the scapegoat who goes. So it's just that merry-go-round, and we are going to turn into a bloody Watford. That's what scares me. That Leeds
That's
United,
what we've got to avoid at all costs, because eventually it will catch up with you.
A West Brom, a Watford was becoming one of those teams, and now like this season, West Brom hopping up and down, yo-yoing, it's hurt them this season because they are in danger of going down into League One, doing what we did basically. Because it does catch up with you, the financials, wage bills. All of a sudden, you can't get rid of players who are awful but on big wages, and you end up shit creek without a paddle. And that's where we're heading. That is where we're heading unless something really changes. And I don't see it from the current owners, and I don't see it from those that have been taking over for about the last 3.5 decades. The longest non-hostile takeover of a football club I've ever known in my life.
Well, guys, I think we've been going at this for 1 hour and 20. I think do you want to call it a day now?
You haven't done score predictions yet. That was the good bit. I was really excited for that.
Okay. All right, score predictions.
I'd rather you just ended the stream, to be honest.
Yeah, we can do, if you want. CK.
What? Score?
Yeah. Do a dare ask you. Score prediction tomorrow night. Liverpool versus Leeds.
4-0.
Hit me with it. Just hit me with it.
He asked numerous times.
4-0.
4-0. Mm-hmm. It was how quiet you said that as well. Did you actually say that like 2 minutes ago?
Yeah, 4-0.
Yeah. It's just 4-0. 4-0.
4-0.
4-0.
And that's me being optimistic.
Okay. Phil.
Yeah, it's hard not to say the same. I don't think we'll score. We're definitely going to concede. I think 3-0 would be nice. I'd take 3-0 and be semi-decently happy with it in a weird way. But
I'd take 3-0.
Well, it's better than 4, isn't it?
Yeah, but
have you seen our team and have you seen Salah? Salah likes playing against Leeds when we're good.
And Nunes is just going to go and stand on cock and your end and just put the ball in the box.
You don't need to just anywhere within 5 yards of the end and you've scored.
Yeah.
Sam thinks we score twice. I'm not going to say how many he thinks Liverpool score, but he thinks we'll score twice.
I don't know how he thinks we score twice.
Sam's the most optimistic one because he thinks we'll actually score a goal or two.
But to be fair, we've had this in the past where we've been really negative and then we just picked up a result out of nowhere.
Yeah, we've turned up for 2 big teams.
I'll keep clutching at them straws, to be fair.
Let's be brutally honest. Wouldn't it, and how many times have we said this over the last few years, wouldn't it be very Leeds United to get a result at Liverpool then go get pumped by Bournemouth?
Yeah.
Yeah, incredibly Leeds United.
Yeah. Mate, I'd say 3-0 and I'd be all right with that. Anything more than 3 and I think...
all right with a 3-0 defeat?
Yeah, because anything more than 3, then I'm just going to be sat here going, why the fuck have we not sacked him? And then they won't sack him. So it doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. I'm already resigned to it anyway. Anything that isn't a 3-0 defeat, if it's anything better than that, it's a bonus and I can be happy. Well, not happy. I can just be less meh than I am. Yeah. I'm not even pissed off. I'm beyond it. You missed the last show where I said Diego Llorente's overhead kick being blocked from going on target by Patrick Bamford is the most Leeds thing that's ever happened to me. And at that point, I genuinely stopped caring and just started to find it funny.
I'll go. Liverpool aren't fully firing yet. They are a little bit inconsistent, but 2-0. 2-0 I'll go for. I think last year's Liverpool team, you're worrying about a 4 or 5-0.
Is that after 10 minutes, Oscar?
The way you react to me saying 3-0 and then say 2-0 only minutes later.
Yeah, but it sounds better, doesn't it?
There you go.
I'm not saying I'd take 2-0, by the way. I'm never ever going to say I'd take Leeds losing a game because, I don't think you should ever.
You just did. You just said 2-0.
No, I wouldn't take it. That's what I think will happen.
Okay.
I wouldn't be fucking happy with it like you would. Oh, yeah,
I think I'd be happy. Whatever. It's better than losing 4 or 5, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not great. I'm still not going to start.
Take my 3-0 pumping and
take the 3-0 pump. I'm not.
Be content with it. It's what it is.
No.
That's who we are now, Oscar.
Not that we get a choice in the matter anyway. We're just debating nothing really here. And this is why I think we should end the stream pretty quickly.
Oh, that's it.
Let you all get on with your lives before the Liverpool game at 8 o'clock tomorrow. We will be CK doing a live post-match reaction, or
maybe not, because I might be going round to Jack and Tash's to watch the game because I think Jack needs some emotional support through it as well. I don't know. I might do one with Jack from there afterwards. Maybe.
Please do a watch-along. Please do a watch-along.
Oh no! Should maybe do a sofa.
Our channel will just be done. Our channel will disappear within a day.
Do a sofa cam that can be edited before being released onto the general public.
She'd have to spend all night editing that
for a 30-second leftovers. Well, shit.
Sorry, 7:45, guys. 7:45 the game. But yeah, we'll have some kind of post-match reaction out. Yeah, we might be happy. We might be sad. We might be acceptance, or I don't know. It's acceptance of the worryingly seeming inevitable.
Because that's what we are, clown club.
Anyway, on that positive note, guys, make sure you check out football prizes as well. Fantastic prize on offer. The 1972 FA Cup winning shirt signed as well. Happier times as Leeds fans. Check out the link down below and check it all out, guys. And make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button. Even if things aren't going so well on the pitch, we'll still be here talking about Leeds. We'll still be here. We won't leave you, guys. We will never leave you. I'll leave it there anyway. End that, bro.